Big news out of Amazon today. The e-commerce giant is reportedly planning to open physical department stores. This would be the latest brick-and-mortar play for the online retailer. Amazon shares finishing in the red today. Dan, you say this move could be transformational.
I do. You know, we've been talking about the transformation of the CEO role here. We know Andrew Jassy just took over, and we also know, you look back to Satya Nadella, you look at Tim Cook, these were like tech CEOs who wanted to put their own imprint on the company out of the get-go. I know a lot of people were a little skeptical when they made that bid for Whole Foods a few years ago. It sounds like it's worked out really well. This is a logistics play. It's also a last mile play. To me, it makes perfect sense. I think Amazon sets up down 15% or so. If it works down between 3,200 and 3,000 to that lower end of the range it's been in since last September, I think you start dollar cost averaging. I think this is going to be the sort of story when the market settles out here, people get comfortable with the new CEO and the strategy that the stock works back to the levels where it was and probably breaks out of that big range at some point in the next year.
Yes, Guy, you're looking at me.
No, I am. Well, I'm not allowed to look. I mean, that's what we do in the show. We make eye contact. Quickly, I'll say something.
Say something? Please
do. It is creepy. It is. Kohl's comes out KSS.
I was going to ask about Kohl's and what happened to the partnership there.
I'm in your head. Am I in your head? They happened to report earnings today. The operating margins were twice what the street was looking for. Fantastic quarter out of Kohl's, rewarded in terms of the stock. And they do have a relationship with the Amazon, don't they, Dan? Wouldn't that make a lot of sense? Haven't you heard that before on CNBC's Fast Money at 5 o'clock weekdays?
You have, in fact.
Out of your mouth.
You have. Is there more of a convergence, do you think, Nadine, between Amazon and Walmart?
Well, you see them obviously by this saying that they need to have space. They need to have places that people can go. But I actually am concerned that they would buy Kohl's. I think that, you know, when I look at that, the print today was great out of Kohl's, great out of Macy's. You know, we played Shop It or Drop It on Monday. But one of the problems is people paid high prices because there wasn't much supply. And there's back to school, there's adults going back to work. So I don't want them overpaying when we're having a really good moment, when we could see a deceleration, call it after the fourth quarter. So while I do like Amazon going after, you know, retail boxes, what I don't like is I don't want them paying up for an acquisition.
You had a little trade, Pete, on Macy's, I hear.
Yeah, Macy's really did get tipped off a little bit, Mel, when we look at what's going on in the options markets. We had buyers, 3 buyers just in the last week or so in Macy's, and obviously you look at a stock like this that can make these kind of moves like it did today, and the reason behind that is this is still a stock that has an incredibly high short interest. So we talk about this all the time, but that absolutely sometimes can cause stocks to move, I call it irrationally, and I think that's exactly what we saw today. So we had a really big move out of that. The last thing I'd say about Amazon, Mel, it gives distribution, and that's something that Amazon is definitely reaching towards. When you look at that target number, one of the things, all their numbers were great. Obviously, stocks run up into this number, and it's sold off now somewhat. But I still look at that, and I look at their distribution, and Target always talks about the efficiencies that they have coming out of their stores. And that is a really big deal. And because they do that, that causes them to be that much more efficient, that much better in terms of the margins and so forth. So I think this is a move that they're going to start seeing more. We're going to all start seeing more and more of Amazon starting to move across the country for these types of stores.
Dan, are you worried that Amazon might buy Kohl's?
No, that makes sense from Nadine's perspective, but I really do think it's about logistics. It's about, like, you know, last mile. It's about returns, about a lot of things. So they might be just buying cheap real estate and do away with that brand. I don't think that brand works well, probably for their audience, especially, or their customers, especially when they know they are going head to head right now with Walmart that kind of owns more of that customer.